Problem 12, this is for review 2, pages 3 through 5. So problem 12 says Hannah has a savings account with a balance of $210 and deposits $15 per month. Faith has a savings account with a balance of $175 and deposits $20 per month. For how many months will it take for Hannah's account balance to be less than Faith's? So we are looking for where Hannah will be less than Faith. So the info we know about Hannah, The info we know about Hannah is that she has a balance of $210 and deposits $15 per month. We've also been told, or you should have written down, that M equals months. So Hannah deposited $210 and $15M per month because we don't know how many months yet. And we want this to be less than Faith. Faith has a savings account with $175 and $20 a month. So Faith is $175 plus $20 per month. So when we set these up, it's best if you write it out in letters first. Hannah is less than Faith. Then what do we know about Hannah? Make that less than what we know about Faith. From here, we're solving, so we're using our don't call me after midnight. We don't have parentheses to distribute, and we don't have like terms. We do have variables on both sides of the inequality, so I need to move it to the same side or to one side. For this inequality, I have numbers and letters on both sides, so I'm just going to move the 15, so I'm less likely to end up with negatives. So I have 210 left on the left side, 175, and 20 minus 15 is 5M. So I've done my moving. I then box my variable and add or subtract from both sides. So I'm going to move the 175 because it's on the same side with M and outside of my box. And I'm moving it through subtraction. So 210 minus 175 is 35, which is less than 5M. To finish this problem, I'm going to divide by 5 on both sides. So 7 is less than M. When we write this out, 7 is less than M, so M is greater than 7. So months over 7, or you could also say more than 7 months. Again, some of these will just need something like this. Some of them might be wordy, so if they are in words, we want to make sure you know how to do that. 13 says the assistant principals notice that the number of students throwing away trash at lunch is decreasing by 0.001 per day. If there are 900 students in each lunch, write an equation to represent the amount of students throwing away trash for X days. So we're going to let T equal trash, and they told me X was days, so I need something with days. So T is actually going to equal students. So students throwing away trash, we are starting with 900. There are 900 students in each lunch, so we're starting at 900. And the amount of students throwing away trash is decreasing, meaning we're going to subtract, and then 0.001 per day. So we're starting at 900, and we're taking away 0.001 times X because that is how many days. So that would tell us the students after X amount of days. Problem 14 asks us which of the following is not a solution of 7 minus 2M is greater than or equal to 19. We must show work. So the first thing I'm going to do is solve with my don't call me after midnight. So I am looking at M. I don't need to distribute because there's not parentheses. I don't need to combine like terms. I only have one variable, so I don't need to move. I need to add or subtract that 7. The 7 is positive, so I take it away by subtracting. So negative 2M is greater than or equal to 19 minus 7 is 12. I'm then going to divide by negative 2, which covers my multiplying or dividing. Because I'm dividing by a negative sign, I'm going to flip my inequality, and I get negative 6. So M is less than negative 6. Now we know they've asked us which is not a solution So m is everything less than, or equal to -6. So because 6 is the same as -6, that's not a solution. Now we have to think about less than negative. Less negative, if it is less than -6, if we have our number line, -6, less than is going to go this way. Well, less than means it's going to be more negative. So C and D are less than, and remember we're looking for which of these is not less than. So -2 is not less than -6. On a numbered line, -2 is actually greater than -6. If that confuses you, think in terms of money. I would rather owe someone $2 than I would rather owe someone $6. I'd rather owe them 2, because 2 is greater than -6. Problem 15, the length of a rectangle is 4 millimeters less than 3 times the width. If the perimeter is 56 millimeters, what is the length of the rectangle? And we were asked to write W equals width for our variable. So I don't know my width, and I'm going to label it there. Now normally, we also have length, but we know that our length is 4 millimeters less than 3 times the width. So instead of writing length, I'm going to write that it is 4 millimeters less than 3 times the width. Less than is a turnaround word, so I put -4. And then 3 times the width is 3W. So on my box, instead of writing W, I'm writing 3W minus 4. Now remember, to find the perimeter, we add up all the sides. So I have W plus 3W minus 4 plus W plus 3W minus 4. And that equals my perimeter of 56. So to solve, I'm going to combine like terms. You could also write this as your original equation. W plus 3W plus W plus 3W is 8W. And then -4 and -4 is a -8. So you could write either of these for your starting equation. From there, I don't need to move because I only have one variable. I do need to add or subtract that 8. In this case, I'm adding because the 8 was negative. And then I need to divide by 8, so W equals 8. Now before I box my answer, I come back up and I look at the question. The question asks me, what is the length of the rectangle? So if I just solve for W, I probably did not solve for length. So we know from up top, the length is 3W minus 4. I know from the side right here that W is 8. So to solve for the length, I'm going to plug in 8 for W and solve. 3 times 8 is 24. 24 minus 4 is 20. I could also put this in my calculator to solve for that as well. Problem 16, we know that our variable is S for shortest side. So a triangle, the longest side, so we have a long side, is 4 inches shorter than 3 times the shortest. The third side, so we have a third side, and then we're obviously going to have a shortest side. So in my triangle, I'm going to let S represent my shortest side. I know that the longest is 4 shorter than 3 times the shortest. So the longest is 4 shorter than 3 times the shortest. So 3 times the shortest, shorter than means minus, and 4. So my longest is 3S minus 4. And then the third is 5 more than the shortest side, so the third is 5 more than the shortest. So be careful on this, that you make that S a very obvious S. And then to find the perimeter, We add up all the sides, so I have 3s minus 4 plus s plus 5 plus s, and that equals my perimeter of 36. My first step is going to be to combine like terms, and you could also write this for your original equation. So 5s plus 1 equals 36 is my original equation. From here, I'm solving for s, so I subtract 1 from both sides. So 5s equals 35. And then divide both sides by 5, and s equals 7. Before I box my answer, I'm going to go back and look at the original question. The original question asked for the length of the third side. So the third side, we know, is s plus 5. I know that s equals 7, so I'm going to replace s with 7. And 7 plus 5 is 12. And 2 more pages. Problem 17, which situation best represents the equation x minus 40 equals 15? So for x minus 40, I'm starting with an unknown. I'm taking away or subtracting 40, and the result is 15. So when I'm looking at this, Katie bought a bag that contained 40. That's a starting. Well, we don't know the starting. On B, Preston took 40 away from a bag that contained X, so that's a starting. That's good. There were 15 left, so that's the result. This could be the answer. C says Andrew has 40 pieces of candy. Kevin had 15 less than Andrew, so that would be 40 minus 15. That's not what we're looking at. D is very similar with different names. Tanisha has 40, Carolyn has 15 less than, and so that would not be the answer. So B is the only one where you take 40 away from an unknown, and there's 15 remaining. 18, Polly bought a new pair of jeans for $37.83, including the tax. If the tax rate was 8.25%, what is the original price of the jeans? So what we know for the equation is that x equals original price. So that was something we were supposed to write down. So when we buy stuff, we start with x, the original price. We know how much it costs at the beginning. We don't know on this one, but we're going to find out. Then what they do for tax is they add this percent as a decimal, so 0.0825, and they multiply that by the original cost. So you have your original. So this is your original, and then you add the tax, and that equals your total amount, which in this case is $37.83. So to solve, I'm going to combine my like terms. This is an invisible 1, so we really have 1.0825x equals $37.83. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 1.0825. And when I do that in my calculator, 37.83 divided by 1.0825, I get $34.95. Make sure you round correctly. I will tell you, don't stress about problem 18 for the test. Problem 19, to rent a car from the car rental place, Juan must pay $20 plus an additional $1.50 per mile that he drives. If Juan has a total of $350 to spend, how many miles can he afford? So we were told to write M equals miles. We also know that what you spend has to be less than what you have. So whatever he's spending needs to be less than or could equal $350. Now what he's spending is $20 plus an additional $1.50 per mile. So $20 plus an additional $1.50 per mile is going to be my starting equation, and that needs to be less than or equal to the money he has. So to solve for M, I'm going to start by subtracting 20 from both sides. So 1.5 M is less than or equal to 330. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 150. So 330 divided by 150 is 220 miles that he can drive for that amount of money. On the last page, we're just being asked to review some stuff from Unit 1. So problem 20, we're going to use our Don't Call Me After Midnight to solve. I do have parentheses to distribute. I actually have 2 sets. So on the left side, 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. On the right side, 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. And bring down the negative 6. I do have like terms to combine on the right side. The left side stays exactly the same. 2x doesn't have anything to change, but negative 8 minus 6 is a total of negative 14. From here, I do have variables on both sides that I can move. I'm going to move the smaller one, so I'm going to move the 2x. I move it by doing the opposite, so 5 minus 2 is 3x. Leave everything else the same. Also make sure you watch that negative 14. I don't know if you saw, I almost lost it. I'm then going to add or subtract to both sides. So I'm going to add 5 because I'm trying to move everything away from x. So 3x equals negative 9. And then I'm going to finish by multiplying or dividing. In this case, I'm going to divide by 3. So negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. Problem 21, solving by using Don't Call Me After Midnight. I'm solving for x here. I don't have any parentheses. I don't have any like terms. I only have one x, so I don't need to move. I do need to add or subtract, so that negative 12, I need to move it by adding 12 to both sides. On the right side, 7 plus 12 is 19. Now, the question is a little different here. They've asked me to find the value of 4x. Okay, so to find 4x, I know that 1x is 19. So I'm going to plug in x, or 19 for x, and multiply it by 4, and find that x is 76. Problem 22 is another solving one. We use Don't Call Me After Midnight. I do have parentheses to distribute. So 5 times x, 5 times 2. Leave everything else the same. I do have like terms right here to combine. 10 minus 7 is 3. I do have variables on both sides, so I need to move. I'll move the left one. Now for this one, my x's cancel on both sides, and I'm left with 3 equals 3. Now 3 equals 3 is true, so this is all real numbers, or infinite solutions, whichever you prefer. You can also do the double R. And problem 23 to finish. We can kind of still use parts of Don't Call Me After Midnight, but this is just asking me to simplify. So the first thing I'm going to do is distribute negative 3 times x, negative 3 times negative 4, and the 2x is just rewritten. And then to finish simplifying, I combine my like terms. 2x's minus 3x's is a negative x. The 12 stays the same. Again, I was asked to simplify. I have an x and a number. I cannot do anything else with it. I also don't have an equals sign, so I can't solve for x, which means I'm finished with that problem.